What is up, Waffle Gang? I hope you're having a spicy day so far. My name is Mark, and today we're checking out some r/am I the butthole. If you'd like to skip the initial waffle, timestamps are in the description and along the timeline below, but if you are new here, please consider hitting that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it really helps out our channel. And yesterday we did have some new members to the channel. So we had D-Bear join us, Dalton Grady, and Vegito Unlimited. Thank you so much for support. And over on Patreon, we had a rejoin, Nemanja Dejevic. I am so sorry, I know I got that totally wrong, but thank you so much for your support. And for everyone for taking the time out of your day to be here. You know how much it means to me, and just thank you. And let's crack on with today's stories. Much love, guys. Now, our first story comes from a throwaway account. Am I the arsehole for not attending my brother's wedding when he and mum wanted my girlfriend to do this? My male 29 girlfriend, 26 female, was diagnosed with breast cancer, and it was one of the most devastating periods in my entire life. She's the light of my life. We've known each other for 6 years, and hopefully we're planning on spending the rest of our lives together. Treatment was difficult. She started losing her hair after she started her treatment. She's incredibly confident, and it never occurred to her to wear a wig during/after her treatment. Her hair grew back again, but she chose to keep her look from when she was receiving treatment, saying it's become part of her personality and it gives her strength just like it did in the past. She'd shave whenever her hair grows. She's not even bald. She does have very short hair, and it really highlights her beautiful round eyes. She even found a new style with her clothes that match her new look. Although my family seemed uncomfortable with her new look, especially my mum, who asked why she wouldn't let her hair grow since she was done with her treatment. I asked them to respect her and stop bringing it up. My brother's wedding was last week. My mum pulled me aside and asked if my girlfriend already has a wig, and if not, she should get one to wear at my brother's wedding. I was taken back. My brother seemed to agree. He kept huffing while I would explain it's up to my girlfriend and whatever makes her comfortable. My brother asked if I was serious. He claims she's probably trying to take the attention away from him and his fiancée. I told them my girlfriend has no intentions on wearing a wig for any reason, period. They said fine, expecting me to come without her, but I refused. Mum argued about how I'm going to make them the topic of gossip between guests, called me stubborn, and that I have to come since people with class were coming. I refused and spent the day with my girlfriend making food, watching a movie, and having some time alone. The minute I turned on my phone, I got several calls and texts from my family, calling me horrible, selfish, and attention seeker, etc., saying I disrespected my brother and his wife and all my family, cussed me out and guilted me for not coming. I felt like it was a big deal since my uncles berated me too, and I just felt bad. Now what the hell is this, family? Let's go down the path that girlfriend didn't have cancer anyway. She has the right to wear her hair shaved if she really wants to. She can shave her hair if she wants and doesn't have to wear a wig to please people. But then girlfriend went through a life-changing, devastating event and faced breast cancer, and I assume she went through chemo and started losing her hair. And then asking her to wear a wig to the wedding. What are these people, man? I mean, come on. And just well done for OP for sticking by your girlfriend the whole way through. And I think if I was in OP's shoes and my family was acting in this way, I don't think I'd want much to do with them. They sound like very, very toxic people. Not the arsehole, well done to you, and let's move to some comments to see what they say. Bertiak says, it sounds like you were uninvited for shallow reasons, and that's what you can tell anyone who's confused. Not the arsehole. And Smash Mag says, not the arsehole, warms my heart to see dudes standing up for their SO. And Big Butt Ever says, not the arsehole, but your mum and brother are. Your girlfriend just survived cancer, and they're more worried about how wedding photos will look and what classy people will think. Shake my head. Whenever I come up to Reddit names like this, I never expect like a decent comment, and it always makes me chuckle. And Clarice says, not the arsehole, when these people of class asked where the groom's brother was, wasn't she planning on bragging, oh, he has this atrocious girlfriend who just finished chemotherapy and decided to keep the almost bold look afterwards. And not only did she refuse to wear a wig to the wedding, but he actually had the nerve to side with her. And when we refused to allow her to come without hiding her hairstyle, he refused to come without her. Can you believe how selfish and cruel he was to us? Why wouldn't she tell the truth to get sympathy for how horribly you treated them, if they're right and you are wrong? What gossip are they afraid of if they are the victims? Congratulations on valuing your girlfriend more than your family's snobbery, and to your girlfriend for having the strength to go through treatment. You two definitely picked winners. And Squirrels Are Evil says, not the arsehole, I'm so glad your girlfriend is recovering. That's wonderful for both of you. She's a tough one to go through that treatment and come out so strong. I'm appalled your family knows what she went through and are more concerned about her hairstyle than the fact she is recovering. What shallow, small-minded people saying you are disrespectful. You should not feel bad at all, but proud you stood up for your girlfriend when it counted. I would ask any family who says that to you to explain how they are not disrespecting your girlfriend and why they think the hairstyle is more important than her health. You are a good man. Don't feel bad. Stand proud. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation and how would you deal with it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Fault Fabulous. Am I the arsehole for not letting my neighbour's kids play on my lawn? I'm a man in my early 30s. I'm an MD, dermatologist, and for recently I decided to move out of my apartment to a place with more space, especially a lawn, so that my dogs, I have two, can have some more space. I spent a lot of time in my clinic, private practice, and due to that, the two of them spend a lot of time alone. That being said, more space would definitely be advantageous for them. I searched for quite a while before I found a house that I liked, had a big lawn, and ended up buying it. It's in a very tiny neighbourhood in my city and quite a calm one, which is always great. I moved to this house about a week ago and haven't had any real troubles at all. Everyone seemed friendly enough. Last Friday, however, when I got home and went to the lawn to play with my dogs, a woman came to knock on my door. She's one of the neighbours and is part of their association. I'm not and have no plans of ever joining them, but they don't harm me, so it's fine. I went to answer the door and see what she needed. She was pretty nice at first, welcoming me to the neighbourhood and all that, but afterwards she said, and I quote, "So, I know you're new, but we would like to ask you to keep your dogs inside your house when you are out. The kids like to play on the house's lawns and they're afraid of your dogs. So, you need to put them inside when you're not at home." For a moment I didn't quite believe what I heard and asked her to repeat, and she indulged me like this was a common occurrence. I just told her flat out, no, the lawn is for the dogs. Your kids have no business going onto my property, nor do you have any ground to make that demand. She did not take that well. She told me she was going to contact the association and all kinds of other stuff. I just told her flat out that she could call the Pope for all I cared. It was my property and my saying it stays. Oh boy, how wrong was I to say that? She left fuming and apparently throughout the weekend started to spread rumours about me to the neighbours. People who would smile to me or say good morning no longer even looked at my face. Honestly, I'm more pissed than anything, but seeing this many people believe in my actions were that of an arsehole, it makes me wonder if I'm not in the wrong. I mean, they were just kids. I could have let them play on my lawn. Anyway, I decided to ask Reddit for help here. Am I the arsehole? Should I just let them do what they want? Just a note that I should have put beforehand, my lawn, backyard, is already fenced. I think OP pretty much said it right to begin with that, this is my property, you can't come onto my land. How cheeky is that to just go onto someone's land and actually knock on the door? Who does that? Knocks on the door and then says, well, you need to keep your dogs in because my kids use your lawn. I would laugh in her face. And it's very twisted that she went away and then started spreading rumours about you too. I think if I was in that position and I knew she was doing that, I'd be going around knocking on those neighbours' doors and say, you may have heard some rumours. These are not true. This is the dispute we had and this is the problem I'm having. Because she's probably using their children and saying stuff about, oh yeah, that guy just won't let my kids play. And people, when they hear children and stuff, they're like, oh yeah, poor kids. But it's not that in this case at all. Absolutely not the arsehole in this situation. But let's check out some of the comments to see what they say. Kato says, you are categorically not the arsehole and quotes, no, the lawn is for the dogs. Your kids have no business going to my property, nor do you have any ground to make that demand. And then says, this is bang on. The entitlement of certain parents never ceases to amaze me. It's your property. Even if you didn't have dogs, you might just want peace and quiet. This is before we can get to the possible legal issues about being aware others are using your property as a red centre for their kids. How to avoid pariah status in the neighbourhood is another matter, but this person is a toxic arsehole. If I'm here, I'm real bored says, not the arsehole, that woman is insane. You have a fenced-in lawn on your property. That is your space, yours and your dog's space. To say, please don't use your property which you bought so that my kids can use it, I mean, she has to be literally insane to think you'd accommodate that. My advice is to find out if there is a community message board or Facebook page, go there and explain like this. I'm new to the neighbourhood, want to introduce myself. I'm frequently out with my dogs on my front yard. They are extremely well trained and friendly, as am I, so please come by and say hello if you're passing. I look forward to meeting you all. I did receive a request to keep my dogs off their own lawn so that a neighbour's children could use my lawn as if it was their own. I'm sorry to say I can't honour this request as I moved here to give my dogs the space, exercise and attention they deserve. I hope you can all understand why I felt this request not to use my own lawn was unreasonable. And St. Elvis says, not the arsehole, it's your lawn, not a public park. But I'm just curious, in quotes, we would like to ask you to keep your dogs inside your house when you're out. The kids like to play on the house's lawns and they're afraid of your dogs. And then it says, how do you leave your dogs out, yet the kids are roaming around freely? I'd assume a fence to keep the dogs in, but then how are the kids getting in? It's a long leash or electric collar situation. Also, as I'm not a dog owner, is it even safe to let your dogs outside when you're not watching them? And that did cross my mind as well, and OP replies saying, they are trained and won't eat anything I, myself, don't give them. Also, there is a fence, but the kids usually jump it or go through the gate. I didn't keep it with a lock and key before. I am doing that now. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation, and how would you handle it? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Gon Algos. Am I the arsehole for informing a mum about why her son was having a hard time making friends? My 11-year-old son and his classmates have been broken into pods for hybrid schooling, and it's worked out so that these 7 kids spend all of their time together. My son mentioned there was an autistic boy in his pod who didn't have any friends. I know the other parents in the pod and know his mum, and asked us to try and help incorporate her son before, so I was all ears. My son felt badly for him, of course, and as though he should try to be his friend. But my son was experiencing a dilemma because he doesn't really feel comfortable around this boy, even though he feels reaching out would be the right thing to do. I tried to get a better sense of the challenges, but I couldn't totally grasp it from my son's description. He's mean, he gets in my space, etc. So I just decided to try and tune in more closely to the conversation the next time the boys were together on the playground after school. I noticed immediately what my son was talking about. The boys in his pod were playing basketball, and one was excitedly telling the others about a time his dad took him to see the Pistons play, him and his dad's favourite team. The autistic boy said, the Pistons never win, that's a stupid choice for a favourite team. Shortly after they were scrimmaging and the boy made a shot, then shortly after had an opportunity to shoot a second consecutive time, the autistic boy became visibly upset, more panicked than frustrated, but the kids didn't get the nuance, and ripped the ball from his hand shouting, you just had a turn. At that point, the boys went to play without him. The autistic boy tried to rejoin them, but was not welcome to participate, and it seemed to me did not totally understand their explanation as to why, so got upset and went to find his mum. When I next saw the autistic boy's mum, and she was out of earshot of any kids, I said my son had mentioned hers had been having some trouble fitting in at school, and that I'd noticed some incidents on the playground that might point to why, and if she had any suggestions to what my son should do in those situations, since he really does want to be friends. She was pretty offended, saying those incidents were her son's way of communicating with the world, and if you'd adapt the basketball game for someone on crutches, you could do the same for her son's neurological hold-ups. The conversation didn't really go anywhere. Now I'm wondering if I was wrong to have told her what I saw, if I just made things worse / made her uncomfortable. There may have been better ways to bring this up, or maybe I shouldn't have just brought it up. Maybe I should have just focused on talking to my son, but I feel strangely looking back on the discussion now and worrying if I was in the wrong. Am I the arsehole for the interaction I had with the mum? No, I don't think you did anything wrong in this situation. You literally approached the mum and asked if there is a way your son could help those situations go better, basically, as your son does really want to be friends, and she seemed to take offense to this. And I think you did a really good thing in this situation, that you tried to listen in and find out what was truly going on, and you didn't get angry about it or cross about it and try to solve the situation yourself. You went to the mother to try to find a collaborative way that it could be solved and everyone could be happy and create some sort of balance. So absolutely not the arsehole in this situation, but Spongecake says, as the mother of an autistic child who struggles with trying to explain social interactions to my child, I would say that the way you approached with her deems you not the arsehole. You approached her asking for tips and a solution that would provide her child with inclusion. You didn't say she was wrong or that child needed to change, but instead asked how you could help your child understand. That is, at least in my experience, the way to go. For us, rules are a very hard hurdle to overcome. Kids are told specifically to do X, Y, Z, but they aren't explained the fact that it's not the rule for every interaction. Most kids pick up on social nuances that are exceptions to the rules. Obviously, autistic children usually do not. Even if the mum is being unhelpful, I would encourage you to explain to your son that everyone has different ways that their brain works. And while it's not wrong, sometimes just don't have a way to communicate that the way they think makes sense to other people they're interacting with. And Reddit DK2 says, not the arsehole, you were trying to help. The other mum was wrong. Your kid doesn't have to adapt to a child being mean, taking the ball out of their hands. In other words, acting like a jerk, even if that isn't the autistic kid's intention. The child is having difficulties because instead of helping her son understand why his behaviour is inappropriate, she's expecting others to just accept it. They won't. And Infant Horrible says, not the arsehole, you handled this very well, and it was nice of you to ask her what your son could do in these specific situations. The basketball analogy was stupid. She can expect that from grown-ups but not from kids. If that boy wants to have real friends, then the others shouldn't let him run over them and tolerate it just because he has autism. Naturally, they would start despising him if they were forced to be friends like that. And now I turn this one to you guys. What do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. And our next story comes from Half Alpia. Am I the arsehole for shaming my sister a few weeks after she gave birth? Okay, so I'm using a throwaway. I, 24 female and staying with my sister, have been for the past 9 months to help out with my sister, 26 female, during her pregnancy. She gave birth via C-section 3 weeks back. Yesterday, a few relatives came to meet my sister, who we'll call Beth, and the baby. So Beth was not really up to sitting with our relatives the entire time. She complained of feeling sick and feeling pains in her stomach, so she often went back to her bedroom, leaving me to talk with the relatives. Somehow my marriage came up in conversation, and one of my uncles asked about my husband. I've been married for 3 years. I told them he was fine and just a bit busy adjusting back to in-person work. Then my aunt asked me when I was planning on having a baby, and that having a baby when I would be 30 plus was a bad decision, etc. The thing is that I don't really want babies. For one, I really don't want to go through the pain of it all. I'd been there with Beth during her entire pregnancy, and I also went to visit her after a C-section. I'm also very scared about a lot of things about pregnancy. I have body dysmorphia, and after Beth's C-section, she would constantly pick apart flaws in her body. She used to never do that and always used to be very proud of her body, so I imagined if she was so insecure about her body after pregnancy, I would be much, much worse. I didn't want to tell them the whole of it, so I just told them that pregnancy would possibly ruin my body and that I really wasn't up to all the symptoms during pregnancy. They just nodded and carried on talking. An hour after they left, I tried to talk to my sister, but she wasn't opening the door. I didn't understand why, but she would just keep saying that she needed to rest for a bit and asked me to take the baby to her so that the baby could feed. After that, she locked the door and told me not to disturb her. I thought it was probably post-pregnancy pains or something like that, but my mother called me and asked if I had said that post-pregnancy bodies were ugly. I told her I didn't. She told me to stop lying and that when my aunt called her, she told her that I said post-pregnancy bodies were ruined, etc. She told me that my sister was really hurt by that comment, considering that I had told her my sister multiple times her body was pretty after birth. I was really confused because I didn't mean that bodies were ruined after pregnancy. I meant my perception of my body would be ruined. I tried to explain to my mother, but she told me that she could do anything about it, but it was really hurtful of me to say that. So Reddit, am I the arsehole for saying that I didn't want to get pregnant because it ruined how I saw my body? I think I might be the arsehole because my sister is really sensitive right now, and I might have shamed her body by that comment, even though that wasn't my intention. And there is a small update after this one as well, but we're going to start off with Alessandra saying, you're the arsehole. You didn't say, I'm afraid it will ruin my perception of my body. You said, it will ruin my body. Those are two very different statements, certainly in the eyes of a new mother. Two Tree says, for having body dysmorphia and fear of what pregnancy might do to your body, you have a shocking lack of empathy for someone with a brand new body image issues based on what pregnancy did to her body. I don't think you're necessarily a huge arsehole for doing it. It was a mistake and you were thoughtless, but upon being told of the misunderstanding, you did not immediately see the body image issues your sister is facing and how body image is so fragile, and persist in thinking you did nothing wrong. For saying she's potentially being unreasonable about someone talking about her body in a negative way and coming onto Reddit to post "Am I the arsehole?", the fact that you have your issues and didn't immediately think you were an arsehole makes you one. You're the arsehole. And Mombi says, "Not the arsehole. You were pressured by your aunt to talk about the subject you were not comfortable talking about. You gave a quick answer and hoped she would drop it. She turned around and told everyone a misinterpreted opinion you had about your sister. Unless you specifically said, 'I don't want to have kids because it messed up my sister's body,' you were not talking about her. Sister, you were offering up your reasoning for not wanting a baby." Mostly I think the issue should be with the aunt for being in a baby frenzy and pressuring OP into answering a question that OP isn't comfortable answering. Then the aunt shared this information with sister and her mum. Unless OP yelled through the house, "I don't want a baby because it totally screwed up my sister's body," then everything else was interpretation on the aunt's part. OP, I hope your sister talks to you and you can answer her side of the hurt and can work through it. It seems like you care a lot about your sister. And Mad Pirate K says, "I totally get it wasn't your intention, but soft, you're the arsehole. Your comment, while not meant to be necessarily about your sister, directly relates to her and is a comment on her current appearance. I would apologise and give her space. Although it may be uncomfortable, if you want to salvage your relationship with her, I would also suggest coming clean about your own body image issues and how it contributed to what you said, but that's not a reflection of what you actually think about her body." And now we're going to move to the update to see what it says. So update says, "I understand that my comment was pretty badly received by everyone. I asked my sister if I could talk to her, and I tried to talk to her about last night's events. She told me she was majorly hurt by the comment. At the end though, we reconciled because I understood that she didn't hear what I meant. She heard from my aunt that I said that and thought I was talking about referencing to her body. I apologise still because it was pretty insensitive a thing of me to say. I hope you all have a great day." And I'm glad they reconciled in the end. And I think the aunt did play a massive part in this whole situation. And I totally agree with some of the comments. It was, although it was in, sister's house at the time, it sounds like it only got back to sister through the aunt in the end. And OP was initially pressured into that conversation by the aunt while the sister was out the room, having a sleep or a nap or whatever she was doing at the time. So yes, but what do you guys think of this situation? Let me know in the comments below. Once again guys, thank you for being here today. I hope you did enjoy today's stories, and if you did, you know what to do. Hit that like, that subscribe, and maybe that notification bell too, as it really helps out our channel. And I will see you in the next one, if you enjoyed of course. Much love guys, take care now, goodbye.